Good evening, everyone. For those of you who are new to a Geneva Music Festival event, my name is Jeffrey Hurd. I'm the director of the Geneva Music Festival. I'm so excited to welcome you tonight to our online spring benefit and online auction. I can't thank you enough for joining us for this event. I know we'd all rather be listening to music in person, and we will get to do that soon when our season starts next month in Geneva. In fact, we're so grateful for all the support that we've received to continue our activities throughout the pandemic. I want to take a moment to give a special thanks to our board of directors who have worked tirelessly not only to make sure our festival thrived throughout the pandemic, but also to plan a season this year in under very strict time constraints. After the stress of these last 14 months, I thought that the best theme for this concert would be an evening of romance. And so your Geneva Music Festival musicians have contributed a diverse array of music inspired by love. I hope that these pieces bring you joy and help you feel connected with your own loved ones. So let's go ahead and dive right into some music. We're going to start with Amy Beach's Romance for violin and piano. Uh, my good friend Esther Park and I had the opportunity to record this piece last weekend. We had a very good time doing it. I think the music mostly speaks for itself, but let me tell you just a little bit. The piece was written when Amy Beach was only 26, and it overflows with the exuberance of young love. We're so lucky that today Amy Beach's music is mainstream and performed frequently on concert stages across the globe. That wasn't the case in her own lifetime, and she had to work very, very hard to have her music published, and even at times published it under fake names so that competitions and publishers wouldn't know that she was a woman. So again, she's become one of my favorite composers actually in recent years. And the last performance of one of her works at the festival was the Piano Quintet as the finale to our 2019 season. So I hope you enjoy this recording of Amy Beach's Romance for violin and piano. Sorry about that. I was muted. I hope you all enjoyed Amy Beach's Romance for Violin and Piano. Before we continue on with our music, I wanted to take a brief aside and mention our online auction, which has some incredible items. We were so fortunate that many businesses and supporters of the festivals donated their time and goods and products to support our online auction. So if you haven't checked out the online auction, I really suggest you do so. The link is there in the description of our live stream on YouTube. You also got it in your email today, although you do have to change the capital letters to lowercase letters or the link will not work. So I'm actually going to share my screen really quickly. I'd love just to show you some of these items. I was just blown away. I think I need to bid on some of these. Let's just take a quick look here. What we got here. So the stay at Geneva on the Lake plus a $138 voucher towards a meal. I can't recommend Geneva on the Lake enough. They're one of our biggest supporters at the Geneva Music Festival. And let's look here at handmade quilt, 0 bids. That looks so beautiful. I'd highly suggest making a bid. And look at this. Yoga and live music. I can't think of a better activity as spring kind of shimmers on the horizon here. I would love to go outside and do some yoga with live music. That sounds amazing. But I just want to make sure everybody knows about this site. GenevaMusicFestival.com/auction will take you to our online auction. Lots of great wine, products, crepe making, deck cleaning, flight over the Finger Lakes. I mean, just really interesting products, really fantastic things. I think you'll get a great price if you win the auction bid. So I would recommend making a bid as soon as possible. So if you need a little break from watching us play, you can just listen and peruse these items. Okay, so let's go back here. All right, so now we're going to run some pieces through without any talking from me. Our musicians will introduce the pieces, and there was a program attached to the email today. So without any further ado, let's welcome Esther Park.
Hi, Geneva Music Festival. It's been a while. I missed all of you, and I am vaccinated now and am ready for a summer of beautiful music making. For tonight's program, I am offering 3 romances by Clara Schumann. This past year, I've been thinking about new concert program, and specifically, I was very much interested in women composers. And who else to turn but to Clara Schumann, who's basically our very first female composer and a pianist. So I delved into her life and her music and found these gems. These 3 pieces were written for Brahms, actually, for his friendship and his dedication to the Schumann family while Robert Schumann was in the hospital. And Brahms basically kind of became the father figure for the Schumann children. So Clara, in return, dedicated these 3 beautiful romances for Brahms. And when you listen to it, there are 3 little movements, and you can actually hear snippets of inspirations that she received from Brahms for sure, her husband, of course, Robert, as well as Mendelssohn. They were all friends in that circle of musicians. And it's quite fascinating to hear all these musical inspirations and the way that she made it her own. The other thing for you to note is that apparently she had huge hands, a lot of 10th and 11th that I had to roll, unfortunately. She apparently was the woman version of Liszt with her huge hands, and that probably had some factor into her bravado in her piano playing. So I hope you enjoyed this piece.
Hi, I'm Hannah Collins, and the next piece on the program, I'll be joined by my mother, pianist Hilda Lam Collins, for a work by Chen Yi. Chen Yi was born in Guangzhou, China in 1953 and went on to study music at the Beijing Central Conservatory, where she was the first woman to receive a master's degree in music composition. From there, she earned a doctorate at Columbia University and has gone on to a decades-long distinguished career as a teacher and a composer. She's currently teaching at the University of Missouri in Kansas City. The piece we're going to share is called The Romance of Xiao and Qin. And it's not a romantic story between two people necessarily, but it's about the relationship between two instruments. Chen Yi is known for bringing Chinese and Eastern traditional musical elements together with Western classical music traditions, and she does that in this piece. The two instruments mentioned in the title are the xiao, which is a bamboo flute typically that's played vertically, and the qin, which is a plucked instrument similar to a zither that's played horizontally on a stand. And in the piece, you hear the relationship between that melodic flute and the plucked jin, represented in the cello and the piano. So this is The Romance of Xiao and Qin by Chen Yi. The next piece is Josephine's Waltz by Swedish guitarist Roger Tallroth, who is known for his work with the folk band Väsen. I'll be playing with violinist Clara Lyon, and we'll be playing an arrangement made by the folk duo of Natalie Haas and Alistair Fraser. The piece was written to commemorate Tallroth's niece's baptism, but we thought we could tie it into our theme of romance today, as Clara and I are celebrating getting married this year. Thank you so much for supporting Geneva Music Festival. This is Josephine's Waltz by Roger Tallroth.
Next is Florence Price. I got to know her and her music through my recording project with a friend of mine, with her violin and piano work. And I got to know some of her pieces, and they are just so genuine and so beautiful that I decided, hey, we should get to know more of her pieces. So at ETSU, where I teach, we are embarking on a project of featuring African American composers' works, and her work obviously will be one of the central pieces. So from my research for that project, I found this little gem called In Romance Land, from 7 descriptive pieces that she's written. I just love this piece. There's no other introduction that's necessary for this. I can almost feel and imagine what kind of person she would have been through her music, and it's a really special bond that I was able to have with her by learning her pieces and learning more about her music. So I hope you enjoy this piece.
Hello and good evening. My name is Clive Greensmith, and I'm so happy to be part of this online evening recital entitled An Evening of Romance, part of the Geneva Music Festival spring season. Looking forward with great excitement to the Summer Festival in May and June. Thanks to Jeff Hurd for re-inviting me to make music in person, which is, of course, the greatest news of all, to be back to collaborate live in person and to make music and to feel like we're alive again on stage. So thank you, Jeff. The piece I'd like to share with you today was recorded with my trusted friend and colleague Stephen Van Howard in Los Angeles. It's a piece that I have always loved playing. Originally conceived for French horn and piano, it's late Schumann, and it fits beautifully with the program tonight because the original title was Romance and Allegro, which then became Adagio and Allegro. It's a piece written in 1849, one of those wonderful salon pieces that Schumann was so his style suited so well, the short vignette. We have a number of other pieces for cello and piano that we stole from various other instruments. The romances, three romances for oboe, the fantasy pieces, Fantasy Stück Opus 73 for clarinet. And so this is more of the same. And of course, cellists had a slight lack of repertoire in the 19th century, so couldn't wait to get our hands on this wonderful piece. And it works marvelously for the cello. It exploits the cello's range, the cello's singing lyrical qualities. And it's a piece which explores the tension between opposing characters, which are, on the one hand, lofty, noble, thoughtful, slower paced music with extraordinary lyricism, followed by this incredibly fast paced, ecstatic, one might say, because Schumann's music has this energy and drive that lifts you off your feet and gives you the feeling that life could not be any better, living in the moment, a sense of real discovery. Always this conversation between the two instruments is what makes it so fascinating and so exciting. And of course, the material itself is wonderfully worked out. There's a lovely reference to the Adagio in the middle of the Allegro before he gets back into the driving rhythm, the triplet rhythm of the Allegro, and it all finishes on a great high. It seems to be a perfect choice of piece for what I would describe as the moment when we see the light at the end of the tunnel, the meditative aspect, which reflects on what we've all been going through over the last year, coupled with this wonderful optimism and joy, looking forward to a brighter future. So I do hope you enjoy the performance. And again, thank you, Jeff, for inviting me. And I can't wait to see you all in person when I come to play in the festival in only a few weeks.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry that we could not see Clive's wonderful performance. I promise you that we checked our live stream this morning. Beth Newell and I got on here and tried to make sure everything was working just seamlessly, but there's always a surprise when you do these things. And I am just so happy to be coming back to Geneva in about a month to make music for you again in person. And I'm just looking so much forward to collaborating with my friends and playing chamber music once again. We have a star-studded season. We're kind of celebrating our first 10 years this year. We meant to do it last summer, but because we had to do a completely virtual season, we decided we would celebrate our first decade plus one this summer. So we're bringing back all your favorite artists. We have uh, Deshaun Burton, who recently just won a Grammy Award, I think last month, returning to sing at the Smith Opera House alongside pianist Michelle Kahn, who was appointed to the Curtis Institute of Music faculty this year, which is, for those of you who don't know, one of the most prestigious schools of music on the globe. So we have Annik Vafian returning. We also have a new artist, Henry Kramer, who won the 2019 Avery Fisher Career Grant. It's going to be a wonderful season. Most of our concerts will take place in the Smith Opera House so that we can still socially distance and keep our masks on and keep everybody safe, but still enjoy music together. All of our concerts from the Smith will also be live streamed for those of you who want to watch from home and feel safer and more comfortable doing so. The Smith has invested in some wonderful video equipment, and I'm excited that those live streams will be very high quality. So there's been a lot of heartfelt love on this concert tonight. And when we think about maybe the best way to deal with stressful situations, sometimes humor goes a long way. And so the last piece tonight is a humorous take on love. And it's about a man who's kind of plagued by a mischievous fairy. So Stravinsky's Divertimento is based on his ballet, The Fairy's Kiss, which was composed in 1928. Stravinsky was asked to write a piece that celebrated Tchaikovsky's music. And so Stravinsky actually borrowed some of the material from Tchaikovsky, and he later stated that he couldn't remember what of the music was his own and which was Tchaikovsky's. But the piece was later arranged by Samuel Dushkin, who arranged many of Stravinsky's orchestral works for violin and piano. And he was quite a virtuoso. He turned it into a very challenging piece for violin. But I just want to tell you a little bit about the story of the ballet so you get a sense of what's happening. In the first movement, a group of fairies is pursuing a mother and separates the mother from her child. And one of the fairies kisses the child. And then a group of villagers passing by discovers the abandoned child and takes him away. Scene 2 is set 18 years later, and I think you'll be able to tell where scene 2 starts. The young man and now his fiancée are taking part in a countryside fete, and they are taking part in these rustic dances. When his fiancée and the villagers have gone home, the young man is approached by the fairy disguised as a gypsy. After reading his hand and promising him great happiness in the future, she takes him to a mill. So the next scene takes place in a mill. There he finds his fiancée surrounded by her friends. The lovers dance together, but when his fiancée retires to put on her bridal dress, the fairy reappears disguised as the bride and carries him off to her everlasting dwelling place. In the humorous fourth movement, it starts with kind of a love scene, and that must be the fairy seducing the man. But then in the epilogue, she kisses him again, this time on the sole of his foot. So Stravinsky clearly had a sense of humor, but we get a nice mix of both the warmth of Tchaikovsky's romanticism and Stravinsky's humorous neoclassicism. So I hope you enjoy Stravinsky's Divertimento for violin and piano. Well, everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. That is the end of our show. That will be our last fully virtual concert for quite some time, I hope. We start mid-May with the Atlas Quartet at Sonnenberg Gardens. The Atlas Quartet was actually commissioned to have a piece created to represent the Sonnenberg Gardens. So they have a big 45-minute multi-movement work that they will play the world premiere of at the 2021 Geneva Music Festival. So I hope you enjoyed this concert. Thank you again for bidding at our auction, for all the donations that have allowed this season to be possible. And I look forward to seeing you all in May. Have a great night.